Hey, good morning, good morning, good morning, good morning, good morning, good morning. Welcome to a live session on Facebook. And this is going to be posted on YouTube. Yours truly, rock and roll, independent artist, athlete, activist, triple A. Adding other dimensions to that training, we're going to do a special rock and roll from the Dragon's Lair right here in this underground room of some temple in Montreal, aka Hawk Island. It is 11:43 a.m. in the morning, 11:43 a.m. in the morning. Still morning for the next 17 minutes or so until noon when I'm going to go cook. And I'm grateful, thankful that I got this cup of coffee. Thank you, farmers, 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 because everybody has to eat and gotta eat. Even Wall Street, buy, sell, trading stocks, futures, options, puts. Please, Wall Street, Wall Street, Wall Street. You got until 4:30 if you do make a million on the market, stock market, buying, trading, selling, futures, options, puts. Please, please, please give 10% of that million, which is the equivalent of 100,000. You can divide it by four, that is, you can different four causes. You can give 25,000 for food security because everybody got it, even multi-millionaire artists, multi-millionaire billionaire CEOs and artists and athletes of the millionaire billionaire brand. And of course you can donate if you make a million, 10%. That is my call of the heart. As this, I am financially struggling, although open for business. I'm rich, affluent, and wealthy. And first and foremost, kisses, which I got credited from the forgotten goddess, which dances with her brother's son to make and create all foods, vegetables, and legumes, and fruits and vegetables and legumes, and all the grains and all the flowers. By the dance of the goddess with her brother the sun, that dance creates all fruits, all vegetables, all legumes, all the grains, and all the flowers grow by that dance. So now is continuous the dance, and I'm gonna be grateful because from those flowers the bees produce this honey clover. And one of my fellow citizens, brother or sister from Quebec, La Belle Province, because this is local honey and I've been able to afford it based on from specially was reduced from $8.99 to $5.99, so that's about $3 off, which is about 44 more or less percent, 44 maybe, more or less 44%, less than half, less than 50%, less than half reduced, but a little bit more than 30, and so it's about 44% or so reduction. So we'll sweeten my cup of coffee on this spring. Gonna say my gratitude. I'm gonna have to thank first and foremost, because this rock and roll independent artist, athlete, and activist, it wouldn't be a day or an hour if I would have my own radio show and television show where in that hour would not thank and rock and roll for the farmers, truckers, butchers, bakers, nurses, doctors, grocery store clerks, all involved in the production and the distribution of food, because food is holy, sacred, and divine, and I'm not perfect, far from it. I don't play it self-righteous. And I admit I got some issues and some vices. I don't play it self-righteous. I got some issues and some vices. I got some issues and some vices. I do not play it self-righteous. And I am for the greater good, while also admitting that at some things I am mediocre. At some things I am average. At some things I am so-so. Encouraging all to work out, to train, and to exercise, because working out, training, and exercising has been, is, and will be my medicine and therapy of choice. I lost more than 77 pounds, and you're going to see maybe a rock and roll either on Facebook live stream later on today, or on Instagram and on YouTube for sure. Workout, train, exercise, of boxing, as I am the people's athlete for the farmers, butchers, bakers, nurses, doctors, plumbers, electricians, grocery store clerks, all those in the warehouses now with the steel toe boots, all those across the North American civilizational collective complex, across North America, east, west, north, south, going on the truckers delivering the food, the groceries, the potatoes, and the bags of all the goods that we utilize on a daily basis. Yours truly is only spending on necessities. And of course, since October 2019, I've been in many ways in a paradoxical, providential way being a world peace advocate, but also in parallel to a world peace advocate, I'm also a geopolitical analyst and theorist. And today, on this special occasion, and now I will do a movie review because I also write scripts and dialogue. I am an artist, or creative artist, general artist, if you will, who's not perfect, far from it, learning every day. So many questions I do have as a universal spiritual teaching student. Some philosophies are simple, straightforward, and direct, such as one of my philosophies is that this body, is a temple for pleasure and purpose. And how do we invest in the body? By regular working out, training, and exercising. Working out, training, and exercising, my brothers and sisters, we need to channel one of the two key words of my philosophies, whether psychological, sexual, or psychosexual together, or physical. It is that we need to sublimate and channel, whether it's impulses of aggression, which I do admit I do have aggression in myself, but I channel and I sublimate it. I do push-ups, I work out, I train, I exercise, I work out, I train, I exercise, I work out, I train, I exercise. I'm not perfect. I still got to do a little bit of sweeping and cleaning to do today. This is 11:47 a.m. in the morning. But super key important, two key words of my philosophies is channeling and sublimating, because we have tensions within ourselves and compromises, and we got to do on a daily basis, on a daily grind that we do. Personally, yours truly, as I'm being reborn, Adrian on a Dragon, during this COVID. And there's nothing that I want to go back to pre-COVID. I was upset. I still am a bit upset, a bit moody at times for XYZ reasons, and of course for the greater reasons of our North American civilizational collective, or the complex of North American civilization. I would have wanted more millionaires and billionaires and in athletes in the NFL, National Football League. And I love gridiron. I do gridiron drills, hut, pass, pass, defense, offense, and hockey. I can skate, can't break. That's a problem. NHL, National Hockey League, NBA, National Basketball Association, and MLB, Major League Baseball, calling these athletes and the owners and owners and owners. I would have wanted them to do more charity, the millionaires and the billionaires, to finance more food security, some more public infrastructure, and some more public goods and XYZ. I am a pro-labor, universal, revolutionary centrist, calling all to the global Dragon Union, as I am a universal revolutionary centrist, meaning that my universal revolutionary centrism is based and tied hand in hand with my trinity of theories, of which I have discussed and will discuss today a little bit, and will discuss in the coming days, weeks, and months ahead, be the CIT, citizen integration theory, the DRT, the death row fusion theory, and the democratic fusion theory, to be implemented via the fourth dimension. And that fourth dimension is LOVE, 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 love. And love is also action, not just blah, blah, blah. To the lovers, today somebody now is going to go, and it's going to be, it's spring, it's about in 7 weeks, about so more or less 7 weeks, they're going to go into the summer vacation, the high schools, and somebody's falling in love now and started beginning maybe dating now, and they're going to date all summer. And for those lovers across North America, La Belle Province, Canada, for those in the high school who are falling in love for the first time and dating in high school, ending the high school last year, or the two last year, or three last, whatever it is, the case may be, we fall in love, and for the first kiss, for the first hug, for the first love, for that high school loving. It's for them to save to make a better world with more education, physical education in the high schools, that I'm advocating for. Of course, the incorporation of my workout training program system, which I've created, made, and produced, designed back in October 2019, and which I'm advocating and have been advocating for it to be implemented across the North American Civilizational Collective, and have been and will continue to call for the mass financing of citizens to work out, to train, and to exercise, because working out, training, and exercising regularly has been, is, and will continue to be my medicine and therapy of choice. Working out, training, and exercising. Sometimes we need a little bit of encouragement, so if you see a child doing a push-up or an exercise or a pirouette, applaud the child and encourage the child to do another one. And push up, whatever it is, sport, exercise, applaud and encourage. Yes, do another one, try again, because it's important to inculcate regular physical exercise, and in parallel, of course, reading and constant education, and of course physical education and exercise, workout, has been, is, and will be my medicine and therapy of choice. And I've been suicidal and depressed. I've conquered depression, and of course right now I'm economically, financially, commercially struggling, financially in debt, $10,000, which I do owe to the RBC, but I'm grateful. It is April 19th, my rent is fully paid my rent for the month of April, fully paid my electricity bill. Thank you, workers of Hydro-Quebec, who built, as though meditation on you, the fact that I'm utilizing this renewable energy, which does not pollute at all, utilizing from my smartphone to telecast via device connected with other servers and other internet interconnections, all those wires and the Wi-Fi. But I plugged it in earlier this morning, and I charged my phone with clean, zero pollution, zero emission energy, and I'm doing this video on YouTube, and I'm having my coffee. And this afternoon, after this video, I'm gonna cook with clean, zero pollution, zero emission energy coming from one of the combination of the 63 dams, which were built with some brains and some muscle by how many tens of thousands, 100,000, maybe even millions of my fellow Quebec citizens, my brothers and sisters who worked in any capacity whatsoever since 1944 until today to build 63 dams. So I'm going to bless it with some big hugs, big go Hydro-Quebec go, big hugs, go Hydro-Quebec hugs with push-ups and with rock and roll, so that in the next 7 years, Hydro-Quebec builds another 7 dams those seven, so we're gonna reach 70 in the next 7 years. That's my blessing for La Belle Province, for Quebec, for Hydro Quebec. And I'm like to offer more than blah blah blah, because blah blah blah, of course, to the table. Philosophy and theory is necessary, but it gotta be sometimes complemented by action. Action has been required in my own healing and transformation, and action will be required in our collective rebirth, as I'm advocating for the rebirth, regeneration, rejuvenation of the North American civilizational complex, of which here, as I am a Quebecer, Canadian, North American, many past lives, many incarnations, but right here from Quebec, La Belle Province. I am a Quebecer and I sing rock and roll in French, and we made this compromise, what I call the Great North American Compromise of the French language, which I love and is beautiful. I speak, I tango, rambo, dance in both languages, and I write poetry in French. I write rock and roll in French, write art in French. I speak French at home, French, English, and some Spanish, my three main languages for the Spanish. And in my own neighborhood, it's so diverse. To if I go out to the left, there's fellow French Canadian citizens. Up above me, there's from Mexico, Mexican, and to the right, I have my beautiful black brothers and sisters of color, my black brothers and sisters. So just on my street, we have this diversity. And Montreal is very diverse, a big metropolis, island city metropolis, there's 2.5 million people. So within this diversity in North America, we made this great compromise of the French language to have the harmony, the equilibrium of the French language, and we have this great North American compromise. And of course, I was born in the USA twice in past lives, 156 years ago, 718 miles south of Hog Island, Montreal. I served in the U.S. Army. It's 11:54 here this morning. I'm grateful, thankful for this cup of coffee. I'm gonna bless workers of Hydro Quebec. I'm gonna say thank you, thank you, thank you to the farmers, to those potatoes, those bakers, to the cooks, to the butchers, to the bakers across Quebec, La Belle Province, to the artists who are not millionaires, they're millionaire artists. My fellow Celine Dion, I do got love for you, Carl Pelado, and other artists of Quebec and Canada, North America. Please, 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 artists and athletes and CEO, donate for food security, and incentivize. Let's incentivize together via a public-private partnership throughout the North American Civilizational Collective, a public-private partnership for us to work out, train, exercise, and to encourage fellow citizens to work out, to train, and to exercise even more and on a regular daily basis or on a weekly basis, whatever the case may be, throughout the North American civilizational complex. As it is 11:55 here in the morning a.m., my good hope is that somebody now probably is gonna kiss for the first time. That gives me so much hope, because we gotta need love in our society, in our civilizational complex, and love manifests in so many different ways. So many different ways that love can manifest. And love is so an important component in order to take action and to heal. To heal, if somebody's gonna redeem myself, I need some work on myself before, of course, I help others, and I need to clean my room. But I do firmly believe in my trinity of theories: the CIT, citizen integration theory, the democratic fusion theory, and the debt fusion theory, to be implemented via LOVE. The debt fusion theory, first and foremost, for the creation of the UE, that I'm calling all organizations and institutions, government institutions, politicians, multimillionaires, billionaires, from the small business, family-owned business, to the medium-sized, to the big business, to the mega big corporations who have different subsidiaries, how the financial structure is made with the corporations. I can name the three grocers. Please, if you make some millions, give to charity, food security, and Wall Street. We give 10% of a million. 10% of a million is 100,000. You can divide it by 4. Give for 100,000 divided by 4 is 25,000. You can give 25,000 for food security, 25,000 for women's sports leagues, because let's face it, the women's sports leagues of North America don't make even close economically, financially, commercially, to what the patriarchal, I'm going to say patriarchal because it's male-based sports, of course. And I'm asking my brothers, since I do love the sports, I do watch NFL, National Football League, NHL, National Hockey, NBA, National Basketball Association, maybe to please, please, please finance more food security, women's sports league, LGBTQ issues, if you will, for the dancing goddess and the dragon kingdom. My dream, which is manifesting as the dancing goddess and the dragon kingdom, which fundamentally is a call for a public-private partnership. Thank you, city workers who pick up the garbage every day, every week, that is, weekly. Picked up the garbage Monday, pick up the recycling, pick up the compost tomorrow. So 3 times a week. Once for the compost, once for the recycling, once for the garbage. I'm calling the millionaires, multi-millionaires, billionaires to mass finance them. The farmers, a good massage therapy session. Myself, I've been complaining for 3 years. I said I can't afford a massage therapy session. I wish I could, but I'm grateful that I can substitute and take a bath. Took a bath Saturday night, or when it was Sunday night, ending the Sabbath. Took a bath for an hour, felt good. Right, wrote some rock and roll, some poetry, created some art, but mostly I meditated and immersed in the water, because water in my spirituality is holy, such as fire is can be divine, and air and all the elements in this body is holy, sacred, and divine, to give pleasure to another with consent and hygiene, mutual understanding and love, with consent and hygiene, mutual understanding and love, to give pleasure to another is holy, sacred, and divine in my as I am a universal spiritual teaching student, that the body is a temple for pleasure and purpose. Purpose to do art, to work out, to work, to train, to exercise, to help another, to clean, to cook, to help somebody else to cook, whatever, do those activities, to do the groceries for somebody else, to do XYZ, all the activities that we do for purpose. The purpose of maintenance of civilization and upgrading civilization. Because maintaining civilization at this point in time is requires some brains and muscle, as was the building of civilization has required some brain and some muscle, some both. It takes both. And upgrading, meaning by attaining harmony between civilization and nature, and of course as we move towards more liberation of these intense energies and energies which are manifesting with the internet, 3G, 4G, 5G networks, satellite telecommunications, and all these new energies and new technologies, which of course affect us differently. And of course, myself, I've suffered greatly. I've been depressed and suicidal. And one of the things that is my medicine, taking some sun. The sun is my pope, the king, working out, training, and exercising, and sometimes admitting in the open some things which I do have, and channeling and sublimating, understanding our nature in the private and the public. And then, because right now I'm in my private room, it's a room, it's an office, it's a temple where I write poetry, I write songs, philosophy. Temple, room, office, all in one. It's a small space, a room, but this small space literally underground in Montreal, Hawk Island. It's a room, an office, and a temple. To that Trinity, room, office, and temple, it also serves a fourth dimension. It has served and will serve today as a gymnasium, where I've lost more than 77 pounds, converting it into a barracks, if you will, into a barracks, a sort of a barracks type of dancing goddess and dragon kingdom barracks for yours truly. So, which I'm calling all to support my dream. But before I do proceed, I do want to send some love in to my fellow North Americans. I want to send some love in. I want to send some love into my fellow North Americans, and the main message is, whatever I will say, the main message is this: today, with consent, hug like you never heard before. The period of hockey playoff started in NHL. 20 minutes. Just 20 minutes with consent. Don't start hugging people in the streets now. That's not the Dragon Zero order. Without consent. Without consent. Consent, hygiene, mutual understanding. Just 20-minute hug or 30-minute, making a whole hour. It's 3 periods of hockey. It's each period is 20 minutes. Do the math, train the brain. 20 times 3, that's 60 minutes. You can just hug for 60 minutes. Like, take a break, 20 minutes first period, 20 minutes the second period. Maybe go overtime. Let's hug for world peace right on Montreal, Hawk Island, on Mount Royal. The March of the Dancing Goddess and the Dragon Kingdom, which I'm calling all politicians in a non-sectarian, non-dogmatic, non-partisan way across North America, and all corporations and all artists and all citizens financially struggling like myself, and artists and athletes, and all willingly loving to support the implementation of my Trinity theories, be it the CIT, Citizen Integration Theory, the DRT, Death Through Fusion Theory, and the Democratic Fusion Theory, the DFT, via LOV, as love is also action. Right, and it requires constant work on a daily basis. Sometimes we feel, sometimes I get moody. The other day I woke up 3 times moody, but less and less I started taking my shower, doing some push-ups, doing some stretches. Stretching helps for some rock and roll. Send some emails for business participation, collaboration, cooperation. Say if I get some commissions, get to do some events, get to do some this and that, and I'm open for business and looking for support, collaboration, and participation. But first and foremost, it has to come from willingly love. From love is also action. So an encouragement on a daily basis to regular physical exercise, to channel and sublimate whatever the aggression, because it's super important to sublimate and to channel the aggression. And yes, At some things, myself included, I am mediocre. At some things, myself included, I am average. At some things, myself included, I am so-so. While being so-so, mediocre, and average at some things, I am great, super, and excellent at some other things, such as geopolitical analysis and rock and roll and writing. I'm the best poet when in combination with dancing. I'm the world's fundamentally, but not only, I'm the world's greatest living dancing millennial rainbow poet. And now for the movie review, but before the movie review, we'll discuss the not implementation of my trinity of theories, but the gratitude. I'm gonna sing again, gratitude. I'm gonna thank in a rock and roll manner. Thank you, love you, grocery store clerks. Thank you, love you, butchers for the butching up. Thank you, love you, kiss you, big dragon hugs to the truckers. Thank you, farmers, for those potatoes. Thank you for the bread. Thank you for the bread. Thank you for this bread. This is bread which I'm gonna use to make sandwiches this afternoon on a budget. Thank you, daycare workers. Hope you're reading something good to the children. Hope you're reading something good to the children. Hope you're reading something good to the children. Hey, this is for the youth, yeah, for those adolescents up in high school, yeah. Falling in love for the first time, hey. For those who make a coffee, for the truckers now on these roads of North America, yeah. For the plumbers, for the plumbers, for the construction workers, hey. For the painters and the cooks and the cleaning workers doing that cleaning with that scrubbing. Scrubbing, 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 rock and roll it for the cleaning workers, hey. Whether they're in hotels and a motel, hey. What if for the truckers? Hey, IT workers, do some coding for the Dragan. IT workers, do some coding for the Dragan. I got some kisses in the exchange it for them. The goddess, I say goddess, and some don't like it. I say goddess, Goddess, and some don't like it. They're too used to hearing God. Well, I gotta say goddess, 'cause she dances with her brother the sun. I gotta say goddess, 'cause she dances with her brother the sun. I gotta say goddess, 'cause she dances with her brother the sun. And I'm a piece of dust, sometimes I'm a POS. I admit it, I admit it. I'm not perfect, far from it. But hey, I am for the greater good. While I want to get some wine and cheese, while I want to hug and kiss, while I want to hug and kiss. Hey, tackle, tackle at the football, please. Don't drop down the fumble, yeah. Hey, this is for the electricians. Without electricians, for the workers at the hydro. Go, go, go. Build this Dragan 7 more dams in 7 years. Please get to 70. Let's go rock and roll. Hey, for the rebirth of Quebec. For the rebirth of the Canada. For the rebirth of this North America. 'Cause we got two oceans to the east. That's the Atlantic. To the west, that's the Pacific. I said to the east, that's the Atlantic, and to the west, that's the Pacific. I said to the west, that's the Pacific. To the east, that's the Atlantic. And we tango ramble up in French. Bienvenue chez nous dans belle province. And we tango up in French. Bienvenue chez nous dans belle province. And we tango up in French. Bienvenue chez nous dans belle province. Hey, we're rock and rolling for the farmers, truckers, on the railways, on the bus drivers. Put it up for the firefighters. I said put it up for the firefighters. I said put it up. Hands up for the firefighters and for the public security workers, yeah. Get it for the union loving. Get it for the cooks and shoving. Get it for the butchers and the bakers baking me some good bread. With some paper in the works, with some push-ups in the works, with some teachers teaching A and from the A and writing words writing words with the ABC, with the teachers, with the math. Hey, 7 times 7, that's the 49. 7 times 7, that's a 49. 7 times 7, that's a 49. And what about that geographical regions? Hey, from Quebec we got those 17. From Quebec we got the 17. Montreal, you know's an island, and we got the Hawks. And we got the flora and the fauna, and we got the workers on the trucks, and the steel toe boots in the warehouses on the docks. Loading, loading, loading those trucks in the steel toe boots and on the docks. With the steel toe boots, they been loading, loading on the trucks. Loading the trucks, loading the trucks. Steel toe boots for workers, for those picking up the garbage, yay. Picking up the garbage, yay. And picking up the garbage, yay. And the compost gotta clean it, and the potholes gotta fill it. Hey, putting up for public works. Dragon dancing goddess empire works. That was a little bit of appreciation rock and roll from yours truly, the people's athlete, the people's artist, the people's activist. For the workers, butchers, bakers, nurses, doctors. Grateful, thankful for today. It is April 19th, 2023, April 19th. My rent's paid, electricity bill is paid, and I got food. So I'm good to go rock and roll. Afterwards, we're going to recon some tango, write some emails, try to connect, because in 2022 and the beginning of 2023, I had 300 different businesses that I contacted in regards to my French art, that I do art of philosopher, and I am 1/7 comedian in French, especially in French, of course. 1/7 comedian, 1/7 comedian, 1/7 comedian. I'm gonna contact them again, see, do a review, follow up, see if I can get some business, which I could, of course, use, and I'm open for business 24/7. Primarily the business of the dancing goddess and the Dragon Kingdom, which is basically my call for the public-private partnership and the implementation of my trinity of theories for the creation of the two complementary covenant and cooperative institutions, the North American integrated, citizen integrated, defense only, security and service, coast to coast, ocean to ocean, security and service, coast to coast, ocean to ocean, security and service, aka the Dragon Army, for the rejuvenation, rebirth of the North American civilizational collective and Quebec Label province, and of course, the complementary with the North American Integrated Dance League, aka the Dancing Goddess Army, to being complementary with the NFL National Football League, NHL National Hockey League, NBA National Basketball Association, MLB. Because dancing is my favorite sport. Dancing is my favorite sport. Dancing is my favorite sport. Please, NFL National Football League, triple the cheerleaders' salaries. That's a color heart. And please, finance, give a little bit of mass financing. Please, owners and players, players and owners, owners and players of the NFL National Football League, NHL National Hockey League, NBA National Basketball Association, and be to the women's sports leagues. Please, to the women's sports league, a little bit more, some of that good financing, just a little bit of action of goodness and kindness, because that would be some rather than just philosophy and words, because of course sometimes actions need to be complemented with the words. The words and the philosophy and the theory, of course, can do halfway and can do a little bit, and then we have to take some action because brains and muscle has been, will and will continue to be required for us to build, maintain, and upgrade civilization. As has been required some action in my own healing and now transformation. And yours truly, I said I died during COVID when I had COVID back, and for the first time I had it 3 times, and I'm triple vaccinated back in February 2020. About at the beginning of February until about mid-February, I was very, very sick. It was like death, pestilence, and disease. And in many ways, I did die being reborn, Adrian Hanna Dragon, yours truly, androgynous, pansexual founder of the dancing goddess in the Dragon Kingdom. Was not perfect, far from it, but my theories, I believe in the creation of the two complementary covenant and cooperative institutions that are fundamentally a public-private partnership, because I am in the private now. I can turn everything off and of course start dancing if I will, but when I step outside, and when one steps outside, is no longer just a private citizen, is also a public citizen with added responsibilities, duties, and obligation, with a code of conduct which can be simple and direct, or very simple in the public, of course in the public sphere. When we step outside of our private domains, of which I am transmitting now in the public, because it's always a sort of a dance for harmony and equilibrium from the private to the public, and in the public sphere can could be the internet. There's parts of the internet which are private, and there's parts of the internet which are of course public. So we open the doors from the private when we go online on the internet, which is relatively a new thing, and of course we're still learning, developing laws, rules, and regulations as we go with this new wonder of technology, science, which is the internet, telecommunications, which allows us to exchange ideas, information, and to trade, to do business, contact, and XYZ, where the to fintech. And speaking of fintech, calling on, of course, PayPal, my astrological brother Bill Gates, my astro Scorpio brother Bill Gates, astrological brother Bill Gates, to support the DRT, debt fusion theory, for the creation of the UE, Universal Exchange Unit. Basically, the DRT is, of course, taking all private and public debt. My private debt as a citizen is $10,000. All the Canadian public and private debt, and since the United States dollar is still the universal, the international finance currency of choice, the global trade currency of choice, and the world economical currency of choice, taking all the debt, the private and the public of Canada, coast to coast, individual citizens and the collective municipalities, and of course the country, whatever the number is in the trillions. My 10,000, if X represents the private debt of private citizens, my 10,000 plus yours, X1 plus all the X's, the means of X's across Canada, US, Mexico, and across the North American civilizational complex, or the North American civilizational collective, which includes Haiti, Jamaica, Dominican Republic, Cuba is a paradox. The paradox of Cuba I have discussed and will discuss in the coming days, weeks, and months ahead. But Cuba is included in North America, of course, as is Mexico. And of course, the creation of what I call the UE. U dot, E dot, U dot, U dot, E dot. The UE, the UE. The UE stands for the Universal Exchange Unit. So taking all private and public debt, refuse it, whatever the number is going to be in the trillions. And that number to be the initial money supply of this new global North American central bank, this global international, even worldwide global central bank, to be able to issue a goal, even of course can be on paper and coins, and to be one UE, the equivalent of 100 suns to be replaced the cents, because now we have Canadian dollars, US dollar, they have the cents, and of course with the peso, Mexican pesos, the public and the private debt converted into US dollar, and the UE will be the equivalent of the US dollar, and then standardized, set the prices set, the standardization of the prices across the collective North American civilizational complex, and create the UE, the Universal Exchange Unit. One UE, un UE in French is going to be easy, of course, to also say un UE, it's almost the same, and in Spanish as well, UE, Unidad de Cambio Universal, UCU in Spanish, Unidad Cambio Universal. Unidad de Cambio means exchange, trading in Spanish. Unidad, unit. Universal. So UE stands for Universal Exchange Unit. So create the UE. And that will be for the 21st century, and create the complementary covenant of cooperative institutions, and of course to have the implementation of my trinity of theories. That's why I'm calling him astrological brother Scorpio brother Bill Gates, and of course all tech corporations and public and governments and institutions and organizations, to support the creation of the UE via the implementation of my theory called simple, the DRT. D stands for debt, R refusion, as in fusion, but REFUSION, refusion theory, the debt refusion theory for the creation of the UE. So I'm calling even on all who are involved in crypto, because crypto is basically a speculative, it's not really an asset, right? It's a speculative, more speculative, to also transfer our energies for the creation of the UE, which could in many ways paradoxically propel us, if we of course channel and adopt, and to channel the aggression into constructive, because we're gonna need it for to replace wars. Paradoxically, I'm a world peace advocate, but I'm not only a world peace advocate, but also a geopolitical analyst and theorist who admits that I have aggression within myself, but I channel and sublimate so that I harm none by working out, training, and exercise. And of course, I fight my own battles. I can put on the gloves, and I'm challenging Donald Trump still for North American unity on a boxing match. And of course, Tyson Fury on a boxing match, two-way boxing match. Tyson Fury, for my one and only professional boxing match. Dragan versus Fury versus Dragan, because I heard Tyson Fury was the best undefeated world heavyweight champion. Last time I weighed myself, I was 93.7 kilos, which is about the equivalent of 7 pounds, so I would qualify, because if you're over 200 pounds, I would qualify today probably to be heavyweight to fight Tyson Fury for my one and only professional boxing match. I'm asking for 333 million to give 156 million to my anonymous sister friend, who's the best English pronouncer and sings great and has the best voice for teaching English, the most powerful, anonymous, powerful, strong voice I have ever heard. Anyways, to World Peace and Dancing Goddess and Dragon Kingdom, Black Adam, Black Adam, Black Adam. Now, and once again to wrap up the DRT, the debt refusion theory, so taking all private and public debt, refusing it, creating the universal exchange unit, the UE, the universal exchange unit, preferably by biometrics, since the hand, the voice are unique biometric identifiers for the creation of the UE, calling all governments and institutions to support it, because I firmly believe where we are in this 21st century now, April 19th, as this financially struggling geopolitical analyst and philosopher and artist and everything that I am with the hats, fundamentally the world's greatest living dancing millennial rainbow poet. I spent many years also suffering and with one foot in the streets, one foot in the libraries, and vice versa. One foot in the libraries, one foot in the streets, many years, a few years, one foot in the libraries, one foot in the streets, reading tens of thousands of books on philosophy, poetry, art, everything of civilization and nature, and writing tens of thousands of pages of philosophy, theories, and analysis and what have you, which have been given a lot during COVID online and in my videos, which can be hundreds of them can be seen, and sometimes are longer than an hour and a half, sometimes more than 2 hours, almost like close to 3 hours of philosophy, art, and reading and education. And have also written tens of thousands of pages of philosophy, of which have come now and coming now out in the past days. Have been coming out in the past weeks and months, a lot during COVID, and today these citizen integration theory, the CIT, which can only happen, of course, when we have the public-private partnership covenant cooperative institutions of the Dragan Army and the Dancing Goddess Army. And the Dancing Goddess Army, officially the North American Integrated Dance League, a public-private partnership with the Dragan Army, a public-private partnership, the North American Integrated Defense only solely for defense of Quebec, La Belle Province, Canada, coast to coast, and North America, for the collective North American civilizational complex. That is my theory and proposition. Of course, I believe it that North Americans, we are Quebec, Canadian North Americans, we are North Americans, and to have the defense of the North American civilizational complex, which is integrated via highways and culture, and of course geographical realities, that we have two oceans. That way is the Pacific to the west, that way is the Atlantic to the east. So we have these realities of our complex of civilization, of which there are many diverse parts to it, but of which, of course, I believe for defense only, security and service and emergency response, because we saw last year Fiona, of course, was one of those events which went all the way from our brothers and sisters in Florida, and of course devastated with Florida, and came all the way to the Atlantic, and I believe reconstruction is still ongoing with the Fiona in the Atlantic. So lots of brains and muscle is necessary, and lots of work to do, and myself included, as it is on my own room. Later on today, I gotta cook. I cook for myself because I gotta save money. In theory, I could go buy myself something for $10 or less, $7, but I'm gonna keep that money for next week, not spend any money for the rest of the week. So I got everything I need for today. I got food, I got bread, I got some, not margarine, but I got some traditional spread, and I got myself some eggs. So I'm gonna boil some eggs, and it's gonna be seen on YouTube, because the YouTube video is gonna continue, but not the Facebook. So calling for the implementation of my DRT, debt refusion theory, for the creation of the UE. UE stands for Universal Exchange Unit, preferably by biometrics. Like I said, I'm calling for the public-private partnership, all institutions and organizations to support the creation for the 21st century complementary covenant and cooperative institutions, the international, the North American Integrated Dance League, the Dancing Goddess Army, and of course the international, or the North American Integrated, citizen integrated, defense only and solely, coast to coast, ocean to ocean, defense only and solely, and emergency response and services with consent, hygiene, mutual understanding, whatever services, cleaning, cooking, giving a good massage therapy session, which I'm calling the multi-millionaires and the billionaire CEOs and artists and athletes. Please finance the farmers, because everybody, even artists, athletes, has to eat. Like playing the hockey artist, you also gotta eat something, because everybody gotta eat. That's a universal truth. Whether rich, super rich, extra, double rich, in I'm myself rich and affluent and super wealthy, first and foremost in kisses. And by those kisses, I am laying the foundations of the dancing goddess and the dragon empire. And the dragon empire is one with the dancing goddess kingdom, and vice versa. The dancing goddess kingdom of the dancing goddess and the dragon are one from Montreal, Hawk Island. The public-private partnership for North America is basically the dancing goddess and the dragon kingdom, which I'm calling all to support. I'm laying the foundations first and foremost with 718 trillions of kisses. A trillion is 1,000 billion. A billion is 1,000 million. So kisses, I got plenty of supplies with some hugs, with some push-ups, with some squats, with some rock and roll, with that, with lots of workout training, exercising, and boxing, which I do love as a sport, albeit dancing is my favorite, as I am a philosopher, artist, athlete, the people's athlete, the people's artist, and the people's activist. Right from Montreal metropolis, 2.5 million people on this island metropolis city from North America, Quebec, La Belle Province, calling on all willingly loving to support in any way, shape, capacity, or form. And the implementation of my Trinity of theories, the DRT, debt refusion theory, complementary with the CIT, citizen integration theory, can only come when we have the two complementary covenant and cooperative institutions on the ground and established as a public-private partnership to be for security and services, like I said, with consent, hygiene, mutual understanding, and love, all services, non-judgmental services with consent, hygiene, mutual understanding, and love, all services with consent, mutual understanding, love, and hygiene, all services to be offered: cooking, cleaning, reading to children, helping to children with sports, doing some exercising because they're driving the parents crazy. They need to get some exercise, to go run for half an hour, play some soccer for an hour and a half, to do some push-ups, to exercise, in other words, or to clean, help with some cleaning, help with some cooking. Giving a farmer, the farmer is going to give him some massages, therapy session. Or the truckers, they could use a good neck rub. A trucker maybe now going for 13 hours is going to drive from XYZ, and is going to go east, west, north, south to be for services. What services, what can you need? Well, I could need a good massage. I'm spending on money, money, money. Create the UE. Let's do this 21st century, new way, new form, new life, new regeneration, new birth, new services. Yeah, brother, sister, brother, we got you. We got a Dragon units, east, west, north, south, not there for you. Geolocation, and of course with all institutions and organizations, telecommunications in cooperation with all telecommunications and Instagram, Facebook, and of course all internet telecommunications and all security forces and operations and all locales, all citizens across the North American civilizational complex with application, the Dragon Army of the Dancing Goddess, Dragon Army's North American Citizen Integrated Security and Service Force application. We got service, yeah, we could use a good, you could use a good neck rub, the trucker, a good massage, half an hour, yeah, we got you. With accounting, so that there's no abuse. You can't ask a massage 3 times a day there. Don't abuse the dragons, don't abuse the dragons, don't abuse the dragons. But nonetheless, with consent, simple philosophies, mutual understanding, consent, 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 mutual understanding, and love. And love is also action. So it could be other services as well, whatever it is. It could not just be a massage for a trucker or a farmer or a butcher or a cook or a nurse. Maybe the nurse is I'm my neck's killing me. I can't afford a good massage. I paid my rent, blah blah. And I could use a half an hour XYZ. Yep, somebody got there to go. The body is a temple for pleasure and purpose. The body is a temple for pleasure and purpose. This body is a temple for pleasure and purpose, and we gotta get services to heal the body, to heal the body, to heal the body, to heal ourselves, to heal others with love and understanding and action. And these new fresh ideas, philosophies, which I'm putting to the table and I've been presenting in the past days, in the past weeks, in the past months, and will present today, and I'm presenting today, and will continue in the coming days, weeks, and months ahead, because that's my call to all, and I'm not perfect, far from it. If I've offended anybody, we can tango, ramble, duo, put on the gloves, and we can box, fight my own battles. I fight my own battles. I'm not perfect. Got tiny hands, tiny feet, tiny little androgynous sparkly dick with sometimes, rarely, very rarely, on occasion, once in a while, on those special rare occasion, goes rocket for space exploration. Let's dance together for space exploration, for the rebirth, regeneration, rejuvenation of the North American civilizational complex via the implementation of my Trinity of theories. It is 12:27 p.m. Please, you got 4 more hours to buy, sell, trade stocks, Wall Street. If you do make a million buying, selling, trading stocks, please give 10% of that million, which is the equivalent to 100,000. Mr. Fing, Larry Fingal, Black Hawk, Black Rock. there on Wall Street of Larry, Mr. Fink of Black Rock. Please give some to charity for food security and women's sports, LGBTQ issues, and finance. Call to the multi-millionaires and multi-billionaires in this, if not this April, in May, and let's make it June, if not ASAP, today, tomorrow, in the coming days, weeks, and months ahead, to finance the farmers, the truckers, and the butchers. Finance them some massage therapy, because I've been complaining for more than 3 years now during COVID. I cannot afford a massage therapy session, but I'm can substitute. And the farmers, they deserve, and they probably need a massage therapy session more than I do. And the truckers probably need a massage therapy session more than I do. And the warehouse workers probably need a massage therapy session more than I do. And the nurses probably need a massage therapy session more than this independent athlete, artist, and activist does, and philosopher who nobody's watching, but that's okay. Maybe somebody will, and somebody will get the message. Say, hell yeah. Well, the main message is work out, train, exercise, and take care of the body, and with consent and hygiene, hug like you never heard before. Black Adam, starring Dwayne Johnson, my brother Dwayne Johnson, multi-millionaire artist, from athlete, artist, athlete, artist, athlete, artist, athlete, artist first, athlete second, or athlete first. Sometimes athlete first, sometimes artist first, right? My brother Dwayne Johnson, please give 10% of the profits you made for the movie Black Adam. Please, Dwayne Johnson, give 10% of the movie Black Adam to food security, women's sports leagues, LGBTQ youth issues, and environmental causes. 4 causes, 10%. So for every million, 10% of a million is the equivalent of 100,000. So if you did 10 million, you gotta give a million. If you made 100 million, you gotta give 10 million. For food security, women's sports league, LGBTQ causes. That's my call for Dwayne Johnson, and I could do some volunteering. If you come in Montreal, Hawk Island, you can sit on a chair, Dwayne Johnson, and for world peace for a whole hour. I'm gonna go on the head. Dwayne Johnson gonna give more charity. Yep. Dwayne Johnson, The Rock, he did this movie, so I'm gonna, yeah, I'm gonna sing. I'm gonna give type of massage with consent. We're gonna sign up. We're gonna live stream it. Me and Dwayne Johnson. I'm gonna live stream it on Facebook, live stream it on YouTube. I'm gonna pinch Dwayne Johnson, pinch, tickle, and sing a little bit on the body, on the head, on the bald head. Sing. Consent. You can say no, stop that, or something else. It's okay. We can switch, or no touching at all. Just sitting across from each other, staring at each other for a bit. We can raise funds together for the dancing goddess and the dragon kingdom in that matter, and to give a massage therapy sessions to the nurses, to the truckers, to the butchers and the farmers and the butchers, to give them some spa treatments, credit for the spas, massage, something for their pleasure and recreation, something for their pleasure and recreation, something for their pleasure and recreation. How about it, Dwayne? Mr. Johnson, we can, whatever, we can freestyle battle rap or dance, or, but that's the main idea, is you sitting on a chair, me in a circle around about you, asking some questions, and probably going to be the best event in terms of athletic or artistic. And that you, one of the best, not the best, but probably will be one of the best creative, creative moments in your life. Okay, maybe when you played King Scorpio, there was something similar. When you played King Scorpio, there was something similar. Played King Scorpio, there was something similar, maybe. But nonetheless, it will be a energetic rock and roll type of situation and scenario, so we can raise funds for women's sports leagues, for my projects, for my paying my debt, and what I've just mentioned in the past 44 minutes, all that I said in the past 44 minutes for my projects, initiatives, and desires and will in the past 44 minutes, my projects, wills, and desires in the past 44 minutes. So all that I did, that I mentioned, maybe will will be will be will be done. So Dragan, Adriana Dragan, and Dwayne Johnson. Black Adam was a good overall movie. So I rated about 7 out of 10. And if I do rate something 7 or more than 7, it is between 7 to 8. It is a, perhaps I will see it again, or I wouldn't mind seeing it again. So that's how I review, or I categorize movies when I see it. So this movie, Black Adam, starring Dwayne Johnson, is a movie that I would not mind to see again. Right? If it's more than 8, I wouldn't want to see it again. If it's 9 or plus 9.5, I would definitely want to see it again, and maybe a third time. Right? But this, I would not mind seeing it a second time. Black Adam, I see it for a little bit more than 7. 7 plus, I should rate it. I rated 7 10 on 10. I will rate it 7 plus. So the acting was good. I really liked the scenery, and I like the story. The story, of course, is a fictitious, this fictitious kingdom about more than 4,000 years ago, where you have a tyrannical like situation with a king, and of course he utilizes some sort of mystical magical powers in order to usurp some demonic forces, and of course to subjugate the people. And of course you have the intervention of Black Adam, which is a type of an anti-hero type of character. And you see then, and during the movie, you see why he kind of became something more dangerous, more bad, more potentially for evil for the civilization than it was at the big, or than it was desired or initiated for him to be granted powers in order to save the kingdom in the past and now in the future. So it begins. I really like the science behind it. I like, of course, the graphics were pretty cool. The graphics and the dialogue, of course, Dwayne Johnson. I added, when I saw the movie, I added a few lines I would have changed here and there, but besides, I would have just made some good dialogue. But it was a humorous type of almost satire, and at times funny. I laughed a few times with the way the dialogue was made. And of course the character of Black Adam, the sort of an anti-hero type of character, had these redeeming qualities, and of course sometimes was very straightforward and direct and almost rough, and had a more powerful, more intense, more type of a rough, straightforward, laconic way of responding to questions or to interactions in a more simple, very not so many words used in order to express himself in the movie. And it was, of course, a great movie. And the movie, of course, begins in the past, well, that's what we know from the ancient kingdom, and then it propels into the future. That same ancient kingdom, it propels into a future, also almost living in the same type of situation where this tyrannical gang called Intergang, where there's kind of a organized crime syndicate which kind of exploits and rules over that kingdom, which kind of resembles, some critics from what I heard have saying, even myself, I kind of discern it kind of resembles kingdom in the Middle East. And of course maybe perhaps some hidden references to the war in Iraq in the Middle East. And of course the beginning of the movie with the ancient kingdom kind of resembles ancient Egypt and ancient Sumeria, because before Babylon it was Sumeria. So Sumeria became Babylon after a few thousand years. But in parallel to the ancient Egyptians, when they built the pyramids, of course the Sumerians also built ziggurats, what's called ziggurats, what type of pyramid structures like ziggurats, and also had a complex civilization with writing and accounting and mathematics and astronomy, and of course religion and mysticism was a more polytheistic. Polytheism meaning that they revere several gods and goddesses. And we have to say, of course, because I say it as being a universal spiritual teaching student, I do say the word goddess, Goddess, in my spirituality, right? That's the word goddess. A lot of people are not that used to hear. They say God, God, God. And when they say God, 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 I say, yeah, you're God, but where is the goddess at, man? Well, she dances with her brother the sun, and I'm a piece of dust, because I Pope the sun. I'm right comparing to the powers of the sun and Mother Nature. We're I'm a piece of dust, but I'm a piece of dust that lusts, gets moody, gets upset, has feelings, wants more chocolate, wants more hugs, wants more kisses, wants to massage, but also wants to give more kisses and give more tickles and give more massages. So I try to be balanced, not totally selfish. But I'm not totally selfless either. Although I am a universal spiritual teaching student, I don't pretend and pretense that I'm just just selfless for the others, because I'm not. I'm try to be balanced for myself, for others, for others, for myself, for others, for myself, right? And I make compromises. Let's say I would have a wife. If I would have a wife, if I would have a wife, I've asked already somebody to marry me. It will have to be in a special marriage, because I am part of the LGBTQ community. I am pansexual. I'm androgynous. Consider myself to be both a man and a woman. I consider myself to be both, incorporate both male and female within myself. I am a man, woman, woman, man. Sometimes more woman than man, and vice versa. More after midnight depends. But I am pansexual and I am androgynous. So I consider myself to be both male and female, and most people I believe are in their psychological, where tensions, or we have different with that, but most of us we have androgynous, whether in the psyche, in the psychological, I believe, more or less revealed or repressed, and we repress, such as there's a lot of people who are part of my LGBTQ community who are repressed. Dwayne Johnson, psychological, maybe I could detect some bisexuality there, maybe bi curious. Maybe me and Dwayne Johnson can kiss for world peace. I wonder if Dwayne Johnson, have you ever kissed a? Well, I'm consider myself androgynous, so kissed as a dragon or a priestess of the goddess. But nonetheless, I don't know. I don't like to assume. We assume much to generalize. I don't like to make those generalizations, because there's so many things that I don't know. I do know that I'm a pro labor and love universal revolutionary centrist. I'm a universal revolutionary centrist, and that I would do that event with Dwayne Johnson to raise funds for women's sports leagues, for LGBTQ causes, for environmental causes, and for to pay my debt and give some good charity and offer some business and some good to my anonymous friend. But if I would be married, it would be a special. I've asked somebody. I'm gonna ask again. Maybe every day. Gonna ask in the next 49 days or 49, 50 days, 50 days, whatever. The coming days, weeks, and months. In the coming days, I'm gonna ask again. Special open BDSM switch type of marriage. Open BDSM switch type of marriage. Open BDSM switch type of marriage. BDSM switch, right? But the self, to be selfish, to be to be balanced, to give pleasure to others, I'm for. Whether by hugging, by rock and roll, by poetry, by humor, by comedy, in whatever shape or form, with consent, hygiene, mutual understanding, and love. Consent, hygiene, mutual understanding, and love. Consent, mutual understanding, hygiene, and love. Yeah, we get dirty, but we get back clean. We get dirty. We can get dirty, but we get back clean. We can get dirty, but we get back clean. Royal, regal, lofty. So, anyways, let's say I would be married, and my wife would say, I would love to, cuckold you sometimes. For you to be a cuck sometimes. Like, can I? There's 7 days a week. Would I would probably say yes. Why not? I mean, if that would bring pleasure to my wife, one day out of seven, that would be some more making the marriage or whatever to be. And my wife would say, I've had this fantasy, whatever it is, and you're a bit small on that size. Can only rare on occasion you go rocket, and that's on a full moon only, so once a month, so I need it every week, whatever the case would be. It would have to be have to be say my wife would say, well, I want you to be a cuck, cuck, once a week. Make that pleasure, to make that compromise. I say okay, and then offer something. I'm willing to do that. What are you willing to do? I'm willing to do, can I don't know, can I do XYZ, or make a compromise, whether social, whether financial, whether spiritual, whether ethical, whether artistic, right? Whether sexual, in this case it would be sexual pleasure, right? Say, oh, okay, sure, why not? And then you'd have, or in BDSM switch, there's safe words when you say green is to go, and yellow is to kind of slow down, and red is to stop, right? It could be vice versa, all the colors I'm just saying like that. In the BDSM lifestyle, whatever it is. Now I'm bringing interjection other things. Nonetheless, Dwayne Johnson and yours truly doing a little bit of Rambo, tango, rock and roll. It. Dwayne Johnson. Dwayne Johnson. Dwayne Johnson, please give to charity 10% for women's sports leagues, LGBTQ issues, and farmers, because everybody gotta eat, even Wall Street. Everybody gotta eat, even Wall Street. Everybody gotta eat, even Wall Street. But nonetheless, the movie Black Adam was a good movie. I like the dialogue. I like the feel of the movie. Of course, there was Dwayne Johnson had this kind of responses which were a bit comedy like, but also satire, and also sometimes very rough, very direct, very straightforward. And the environment, I liked how it was set up in kind of a near futuristic situation of this old kingdom, who of course is shown in the near future, and kind of makes parallels to a situation of exploitation and what have you to the modern situation. Some had drawn analogies without naming of the situation about exploitation of different countries by corporations or contract corporations and what have you. But overall, the movie was worth seeing, and Black Adam, of course, had some nice. It kind of finishes. I don't want to be spoiler alert. Kind of finishes with there's gonna be a sequel, or maybe a sequel and then maybe a prequel. But the prequel, well, it could be, and we kind of learn a bit of the origin. Well, we learn more than a bit. We learn the origin story of Black Adam and his own dealings with rage and anger and frustrations, and how he got to have that potential for a negative, a sort of a paradoxical situation where he had rage and anger in him, but it was also a paradox that he could also do great good, and of course had redeeming qualities. But of course, is shown throughout the movie, and we learn more about his origin story and sort of like the causes of his anger and his frustrations, and his also not really willingness to be of help for others, to be a hero, his unwillingness almost to be a hero, his desire not to, but then he does, of course, a lot of good. So we have, of course, the plot story is that there is the crown. Main runs around the villain trying to get the crown. The villain or the villains, plural, this chief of the intergang, to get the crown, which was formed in the past, in about more than 4,000 years or 5,000 years before the current story begins. So, like it says something about 2,600 before the Common Era. So 2,600, about when the pyramids, from what we know, when the big three pyramids, the pyramid of Khufu, Khafre, and of course in the three pyramid complex of Giza, Khafre, Khufu, and Khafre, right? And the big one, the middle one, and the small one, let's call it pyramid complex. We'll have the biggest one. It's about 2,700 to 2,500 BC, right? Before the Common Era. So that's more than 4,500 years ago that these pyramids were built. So the movie kind of starts from about that 2,600 BC, so more than 4,500 years ago, and then it propels into the future. So it shows in the past how this crown was fabricated from seven, I think six demonic entities, and there's references to ancient deities of the past, which ancient Egypt and Sumeria and the Canaanite religions had these different deities and gods and goddesses, again, Goddess, 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 not just gods, but also goddesses, right? Because they were part of our mythology, the goddesses of ancient Oldham. I believe that the Mother Earth, there is, it also is a being. My belief is that there's a life force. We can't really see or are not totally connected, but some of the animals are, such as the birds, based on the migration theory, migration. I know birds migrate. Just saw last 2 weeks ago that some of the birds came back. So there's the migratory problem. How the word said, I believe there's life, right, in the whole this whole of a spiritual to planet Earth, to Mother Nature. I do believe it's a goddess, in other words, a goddess who dances with her brother the sun, but not, of course, in the way like it's a more mystical, or abstract, if you will. When I'm saying that, of course, as a universal spiritual teaching student, right, you can find spirituality in spiritual forms, but a lot of things are mystery. But under this, there's mentions of the ancient Egyptian deities that existed, and it's part of the ancient Sumerian deities, which of course existed. And if we take, for example, the Bible as a reference, we have to go back, because when we go back to what's called the Book of Moses, the Torah, right, we have to remember that Moses, from what we know, the prophet Moses, the prophet Moses, was more than 3,300 years ago, right? And when we read the stories, there's a lot of mystery to the stories, a lot of mystery, there's a lot of mystery to the stories, right? To all these stories of Moses and all the other biblical characters, right? That we have. And when you go before Moses, when you go back to those other characters, they were more than 3,700 years ago, even 4,000 years ago, and all related to ancient Egypt. They're related to ancient Egypt, right? Because it's written in the Bible. It's ancient Egypt. I'm not gonna diverge into a spiritual discussion about our the origins of Western civilization's spiritual roots, and spirituality is connected very much to the ancient Egyptian religion, if whether admitted or known or not, whether we like it or not, or how we deal with it with information after has come out after the in the past in the late 19th century and in the early 20th century, with the discoveries ongoing in the ancient Egypt and what have you, right? And just the fact that it says that you know, in Genesis chapter 50, just the fact that it says in Genesis chapter 50, Jacob, aka Israel, it says there, it says in the Bible, he was embalmed and mourned by the Egyptians, by the ancient Egyptians, 40 days and 70 days. But the answer sometimes is right there. It's written there. Genesis chapter 50. Who are you trying to kid here? Anyways, but it's written right there. Anyways, I digress. But nonetheless, this movie had at the beginning it mentioned the deities and the forces of the deities to construct, to give the powers to Black Adam, and the word, of course, which is kind of a mystical, magical word, Shazam, 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 and gives him his powers and then transforms him into Teth Adam, Teth Adam, or meaning Black Adam, right? And whatever have you. And of course, the crown, which the king used it to usurp, to basically impose a tyranny on the people by exploiting and keeping them in a sort of ignorance and what have you. And then it transposed to the future, where that crown is sought after again by by again the organization with the head chief and what have you. And then the intervention of Black Adam, which he's awakened in this dungeon by one of the protagonists, right? The protagonists, of which Black Adam is one protagonist, but he's a sort of anti-hero type of, I don't want nothing to do with that, I don't want nothing to do with that, I don't want nothing to do with that. And of course, not just the protagonist, but of course the anti-hero. He's a kind of anti-hero, the protagonist facing. There's several protagonists in the movie. There's not just Black Adam. There's also Adriana Cole. Adriana, I forgot the surname, Adriana something, and there's another protagonist, a child, kind of an adolescent, who's kind of a protagonist, a hero in the making in many ways. And there's several antagonistic characters who are after the crown. And in that dungeon, she is the one who utters a word, and then he's kind of awakened from the slumber, from the sleep, and he's kind of upset because of that, because he kind of does not want to help out, but he's kind of has that in him. That goodness is in him, although it's hidden by the rage, by the pain, by the suffering. But he still has goodness in him, these redeemable qualities, and that's he's an anti-hero. Although in kind of in words, he kind of almost the words he responds is kind of he's the antagonist, he's the bad guy, he's the evil guy, but he's really not. He has redeemable qualities, and he does help out the citizens of Kandor in the future, and of course as he did in the past. And there's sometimes there's back and forth. I recommend the movie. I rated 7 out of 10, so I would see it again myself. Good acting. Please give 10% of the profits made on the movie. That's my call, to give 10% on the profits that you made on the movie. All movies, all millionaires, artists, athletes, please give some charity, food security, because everybody gotta eat. And women's sports leagues and LGBTQ services and environmental causes. That is my call for all to give, to be charitable. As my first charity would be my anonymous, just a friend if I ever do some charity. But nonetheless, this has been yours truly, Adrian Hanna, Dragan, Androgynous Massacre, founder of the Dancing Goddess and the Dragon Kingdom. and the Phoenix People's Party and the Global Dragon Union, calling all to support in any way, shape, capacity, or form my dream, my dream, my dream. Manifesting as the dancing goddess and the dragon kingdom, the dragon empire, the dancing goddess kingdom are one. Under the sun and stars on earth for the rejuvenation, recreation, pleasure, defense, 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 and joy, joy, joy of the North American Civilizational Collective, aka the North American Civilizational Complex, of which Mexico, Canada, US, and part of the islands are. Apart from La Belle Province, Quebec, Canada, from Montreal Metropolis Island. It's an island surrounded by a big river where I lived and has been my home in a past life. I've been born right on this island in a previous incarnation where I've helped Louis here push some horses on a cart. It is 12:52 and I'm getting a bit hungry, so I'm gonna pause on the YouTube. I'm gonna go a YouTube full video and I'm gonna and the live stream on Facebook. Thank you, thank you, thank you, farmers, 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 butchers, bakers, nurses, doctors, IT workers, grocery store clerks, all the truckers. Let's do a meditation on the truckers now. The truckers going east, west, north, south with all the goods, all the warehouses being for the food, for the bananas, for the potatoes, for the bread, everything that we have, of course, for that we enjoy on our tables, for the bacon, the butchers, and of course, those cattle farmers, for the chicken, for the grains, for the beans, for all the farmers across North America, whether cucumbers, whether tomatoes, whether apples, and of course all the production of food, those who are making a cheeseburger, a sandwich now, making some fries in the fast foods, feeding maybe a trucker who's transporting those goods, maybe boxes and boxes and boxes and tons of goods flowing now from Mexico, Canada, US on all the railroads as well. On the railroads, those trains, conductors going from the east, west, north, south, the bus drivers along, of course, the highways, those trucks going for the east to go, the supply chains from the east to the west to the north to the south. Big dragon hugs. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Dragon rolls, rock and roll for you, for those construction workers rebuilding our, filling our streets with the potholes going in the aqueducts. City workers who pick up the garbage every week here 3 times a week, for the garbage once, for the compost once, which is good for the environment, and for the recycling once, which is good for the environment. Big dragon hugs. Thank you to those garbage collectors who pick up the garbage every week, who pick up the compost every week, who pick up the recycling every week. Big dragon hugs to the workers of the city working in sanitation, trying to get for the clean water, sanitation for us to drink cleaner water, to have the aqueducts, which were also built with brains and muscle, because brains and muscle is required for us to build, maintain, and upgrade civilization, as has been required for all the maintenance thereof, of all the underground aqueducts, for all the workers involved in any way capacity, changing the light bulbs of the city streets, changing the going for the wires, some involve safety. Hydro-Quebec workers who are now operating to restore the power, which maybe some have lost power, going on the maintenance, replacing the old with the new, replacing the old with the new, replacing the old with the new. Takes brains and muscle, takes brains and some muscle, takes brains and some muscle. And maybe they need a massage therapy session more than I do. I'm convinced that they need more of a massage therapy session than I do. So give it to the truckers, finance them, please, please, please. CEOs, multi-millionaires, billionaires, artists, millionaires, athletes, making those 7 million contract a year. Give 10% for food security to finance the farmers, the butchers, the truckers for a spa, massage therapy session, and give 10% of the tickets. NFL, I'm calling on the NFL, National Football League, NHL, National Hockey League, NBA, National Basketball Association, MLB. Please give 10% every season from now on. Reserved for farmers, can be from that 10%, make 2% for the farmers, 2% for the cooks, 2% for the butchers, 2% for the nurses, and 2% for the truckers, or 1% for each. Farmers, truckers, butchers, nurses, place of tickets, 10% of all the tickets of the sport, so that they can enjoy the farmers, the butchers, the bakers. Farmers give them for the tickets for the, because there are probably many fans of the sports like myself, who are farmers, who are truckers, who are butchers, who a little bit pricey to get $90, $50 plus $100 sometimes to go see it. This fight will be boxing. Me and Tyson Fury boxing going to be 10%. Farmers, butchers, bakers. You're from the farm, I'm gonna get it in for free. If I do a show or workout, train, exercise, in a stadium regularly, I'm gonna be farmers, butchers, bakers, truckers, Gonna be 10% of that is gonna be of the stadium is gonna be set for them, and they gonna enter there for free. If you're a farmer, butcher, trucker, 10% of all the. If I would do dancing or rock and roll, dancing is my favorite sport. But 10% will be reserved for of the tickets of any stadium where I would perform will be reserved for the truckers, for the butchers, for the farmers, for those involved in the production and distribution of food, for the nurses, cleaning workers, for those general workers and it's called essential workers. There will be 10%, maybe even more. In my case, they must say it gotta be essential workers, man. Essential workers only. Shows. Grateful, thankful for today, 12:57 p.m. It is 19th of April. I'm grateful, thankful that my rent's paid, fully paid my rent for the month of April, fully paid my electricity bill for the month of April. Gonna rock and roll it, gonna work out, train, exercise. I'm gonna go have a little bit of something to eat because it's almost 1 o'clock. So I have bread, and the full video is gonna be on YouTube. I was gonna interrupt and I'm gonna put a stop to the Facebook live streaming. Again, I encourage you all to work out, to train, to exercise. Working out, training, and exercising has been, is, and will continue to be my medicine and therapy of choice. Lost 77 pounds. Looking for volunteers to build a Dragan Army app and encourage all. So I'm calling, have been, and will call for the mass financing of citizens across the North American Civilizational Collective, across the collective North American Civilizational Complex, to work out, to train, and to exercise. Do some push-ups today. Do some push-ups today. Do some squats, go for a jog, go for a run, stretch for half an hour, do some yoga, whatever, do some exercise. Do some physical exercise. It really is medicine and therapy, and cannot stress enough the importance for mental health, for the body health, for regular physical exercise, for body, for mind, mental health, for regular physical exercise. Super important. You can dance for half an hour, even more. I dance over time because this is my favorite sport. But regular physical exercise have been M&M calling, and will call for the mass financing via public-private partnership, for people to be encouraged, incentivized to work out, train, exercise regularly. Because working out, training, and exercising regularly has been, is, and will continue to be my medicine and therapy of choice. Thank you to the nurses, doctors, butchers, truckers, bakers, cleaning workers, firefighters, public security workers, dock workers, those loading and unloading the trucks now across the North American Civilizational Complex, those baking some bread, the butchers, the bakers and the butchers and the cooks, those making a sandwich now to get to a trucker who's transporting goods, and all the food supply, to cleaning, those involved in cleaning in the public sphere, the public servants, to the public servants. Yours truly calling all to the Global Dragon Union and supporting my dream in any way, shape, capacity, or form. Pledge your allegiance, kisses God, and pledge your allegiance to our family, All my allies and armies are my de facto family. All my allies and armies are my de facto family. All my allies and armies are my de facto family. So we're gonna pause it now, and we're gonna transfer. We're gonna see each other in the kitchen in 3, 2. Your time, my timeline might differ. Never delete on Facebook. Never delete. So we're gonna see each other in a bit. Put some more coffee. I'm gonna go cook on a budget.